So forests have been a backbone of the Finnish, let's say, economy and also kind of cultural identity for centuries. We are those people living in the forest, I would say. And the recent, let's say, 100 years have been more like an industrial boom, growth of forest industry, and then after the year 2000 there have been quite a lot of structural changes also ongoing. So it is interesting to see what will happen to the forest-based bioeconomy and the use of forests in Finland overall in the future. And one can approach these questions from the perspective of the drivers, of the global drivers and also national drivers that can play a role in here. And the second thing that I would like to emphasize are the role of innovations. So let's talk about this, and then we will end with a little bit of talk about the role of sustainability in all of this. The global megatrends, we have a lot of factors that influence what is happening in forest sector and forest bioeconomy overall. Some of them are international in scope, some are more national. In Europe, for example, European Green Deal does not say so much about forests as a source of new greener growth, but definitely these are the renewable resource base, especially here in the Nordic region. So what will happen in the European Union policies will definitely have an impact on locally also here in Finland. Then if we think even more globally, the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals and this so-called Agenda 2030 has also quite a lot of ambitions towards more sustainable and greener societies in both developed and developing regions of the world. And forests as a natural resource base in some countries are important for this. So they can provide well-being for people, materials, very different kind of products also. So this diversified use of forests and also the recreational values are very important here in Finland. So an important aspect is to contribute to climate change challenges globally, and from this perspective also the carbon storage in harvested wood products can play a role. And there are many existing products that are important and are globally in a wide use, but at the same time there is need for also new innovations and development of completely new products. Some of the really interesting ones also from the perspective of Finland would be wood-based textiles to substitute oil-based clothing materials, use of wood in a modern and new way in construction purposes, also to substitute concrete and steel, which are much more carbon intensive materials. And maybe also bio-based chemicals and nanocellulose, all sorts of less let's say products that are smaller in volume, but they can be really high in terms of market prices. All of these do not exist in the market yet, but I think this is an important challenge also for researchers to work rigorously for developing these new products. Forests do play an important role in terms of these global sustainability challenges. Two of the most important ones are the climate change and the loss of biodiversity. So at least in Finnish scale, these two, let's say, even interrelated challenges are something that whatever happens in a forest in terms of forest management does reflect on this. So forests are becoming not only important in terms of products and raw material wise, but also in terms of working as a carbon sink and mitigating the climate change effects, and also in terms of safeguarding the biodiversity and in the different types of species here in the boreal region in particular. So overall, there is a lot of opportunities in terms of forest bioeconomy from various perspectives are, like mentioned, the new bio-based materials, new innovations, and also from the perspective of biodiversity safekeeping and the carbon storage properties. However, the overall understanding of the sustainability challenges over the long value chains of the forest products overall, these are something that also probably there is much more need for innovation and research activities, so that we would understand the complexity of the different aspects. And so again, here's a task for researchers that to understand better these value chain length impacts from the perspective of sustainability.